What's going on, everybody? We are live. Welcome back to another episode of STL Sunday or 3D Printing Sunday. I'm getting everything just set up. Give me just a second. I believe this should be, yep, everything is rolling on both sides. Like I said, or I didn't mention yet, but my plan is for today that we are streaming on both YouTube and Facebook. So we're only going to stream for 30 minutes on Facebook, and then that'll get cut off. Anybody else who'd like to come watch can come over to the YouTube side to finish the episode. But the point of this show that we do every week is it's called 3D Printing Sunday or STL Sunday. We take and we go through the design process of modeling up an item in 3D. For this show, we use Fusion 360 because you can get it for free in most places. Not saying all places, but most. You can get a personal use license, basically. But this week, since I assume or guess that a lot of people got 3D printers for the holidays, I'm going to go through and we're going to draw up something, and then I'm actually going to go through and show bringing it into a slicer. A lot of people I see download something from Thingiverse where we put these files up for people to download, and they just bring them in there and just hit print. They don't necessarily change the orientation of a part to maybe make it print cleaner or print with less support material, or maybe know how to turn support material on or off. So we're going to go through some of that. I'm going to be using Cura for the slicer program, and that's going to come at the end of the program today. So if you're on the Facebook side, you'll have to come watch the YouTube side to get the full stream, but that is the plan. Now, I do pay attention to the comments on the YouTube side, so that's where I'm focusing on that. That's kind of how this is going to go, hopefully. Now, I'm going to switch over to our Fusion example. Now, this is the main screen of Fusion. In the inset right below me here, you'll see that I've got an inset photo of like a sim racer setup for playing video games, whatever. My idea is that we're going to take and draw up something like that, but we're going to make it a cell phone holder. So you can put your cell phone in it and that will act as the monitor. Now you can either use that for your scale garage, scale diorama, whatever you're doing, or you can just have it on your desk as a funny looking phone holder. But also it will be it'll be a driver's seat or a racing seat of some sort. So that's an option as well. You know, you could just strip that out of it if you'd like. We are going to do this as a multi-part design, so it'll all go together with multiple pieces. You'll print it multiple pieces, and that's the, again, that's the overall concept of what we have going on. Hopefully that made sense. This is gonna be kind of, if you're new to this show, I don't go through every step-by-step click of the drawing process. I kind of just go through it to give you guys an idea of how I draw things, more so than, exactly every single step. It's kind of it's a broad overview. I definitely suggest, watching some good tutorials on using Fusion 360 if that's your plan, but that maybe you'll pick up a tip or two here or there. So here we go. Can I scale it up to really use it? You know what? You're going to need a bigger 3D printer, I'm guessing. So let's kind of just make some assumptions here. I'm going to start with a new sketch. We click the sketch button at the top right. I'm going to go to the right plane, and I'm going to kind of just do a little bit of sketching before we do anything, just to kind of try and scale things out a little bit, give ourselves a bit of an idea. I'm going to kind of think of a base. We're going to have this come up somehow, and then I'm going to use my iPhone Max as an example, and then it'll pretty much work with anything. So let's call this thing, give or take, 80 millimeters tall. So we'll draw a rectangle with a height of 80 millimeters, just so we can scale off of that. It gives us an idea. I'm not saying it will be, straight up and down or anything like that. This is just for an example at this point, at least. Now a seat, I guess if I'm kind of looking at just like the dimensions of the seat I'm sitting on, so I can get an idea of the chair, 16 to 18 inches for the actual seat pan. Let's say we do this in 1/10 scale. So 1.6 inches, 1.8. Let's say we just actually kind of jump up a little bit to 2 inches. So that's about 50 millimeters. And then a seat back. How tall am I? How tall would a high back seat be? 32 inches, something like that. 3.2, that's 75 plus 6, 80 millimeters, give or take. Oops. That's fine. We don't need to consider the angle. And, you know, and again, yes, I don't have any angle on the seat bottom or anything like that right now. This is, again, just for a bit of a sketch. Now, say we're going to have a steering wheel in here. That's going to be what would a decent sized steering wheel be? 14 inches. So 1.4, 1.5 inches, 38 millimeters. I am going to adjust that one. And that seems like too steep of an angle. So let's go 10. And it needs to be somewhere in that range. So I'm thinking something like that. So this is the seat, steering wheel, and this will be our phone holder. We need to get our phone, I guess the phone holder is going to have to be above that a little bit more so it kind of clears the seat. Something like that. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. Okay, I'm going to end that sketch. And again, that was just for my own visualization so I can kind of get a plan of attack. I'm going to start a new sketch. We are going to start on the right plane again. And let's do, you can see that the photo inset that I have below me here, that's kind of made out of tube. And we could do it in that kind of sort of way. Maybe we'll do it out of like a square tube because that would give us some options. So let's do that. Let's do, we're gonna pull that. We're gonna have to give our phone holder a little bit of a draft or angle. While that won't be 100% accurate to a sim gaming rig, it should at least make it so your phone doesn't fall off of it. And the other thing that I need to do is make sure that the base comes out beyond the top or beyond at least the center of mass of the phone so that it doesn't want to tip over awkwardly. So 40 is fine there. And we also want to make sure that this is going to fit within the bed of like an Ender 3 printer. That's super common. Those are about a 200 millimeter base. So just want to make sure that everything sits there without any problems. Let's do 180 millimeters tall. We'll go 30. Now we haven't defined any of these angles. And none of these angles are crucial, so I'm just playing around with it. That should be enough angle for the phone to sit without any issue. Just add some brass. Good comment, Moose Jaw. I'm kicking you out of the stream already. Okay. So I threw that profile together. Let's throw some fillets in the corner. 10 millimeter. I'm already liking the size of. Now that undefined a lot of my sketch already after I added that, but I'm not overly concerned about that. 90, there we go. So we're gonna throw one more in here. Okay, so I'm gonna hit finish sketch. Now I do have the tube add-in done, or it's actually called pipe. So we're gonna go to pipe, and if you don't have that added, you can actually do that by going to tools and then utility here. It's add-ins. Sorry, you click add-ins and then you go down and you find the pipe add-in and you hit run, and then that will add that to your toolbar. That is not on by default. So we're gonna go back, grab pipe. we're going to change that from circular to square. And then we're going to select that profile that we just drew. So you can see that's a kind of a square tube design. Now, currently that's a 3mm section. We're going to bump that up to like 5mm. Actually, we're going to go more than that. I'm going to go 6mm is just under 1/4 of an inch. So 6.5, that's just over 6.35mm is 1/4 of an inch. So that gives us that. Now we're gonna have that as will be either side. I'm going to take, and I'm actually gonna select that part and we're gonna move it. Now I need to create the 2 rails. So let's say that we make it, let's see, 2.7 inches. So if we move that 2.7 divided by 2 inches, will it do that? No, it won't. What is that, 1.35? 1.35, we moved that over. I'm gonna do a move command again, or we could do a mirror command. We'll just do that. Drop down to mirror, select body, select that object, mirror it off of the center line. So you can see none of this design is following the actual profile I created. Again, that was, or the previous sketch. That was just so I could kind of get things into some sort of thought or reason. Now, of course, we need to connect everything here. What I'm going to do is we're going to start kind of at the top, and I'm going to plan on adding a couple of bosses. And then we'll add some around them. We're going to make those inner ones 2.6mm because those will be a threaded hole for a 3mm screw. So we're going to select both of those and click equal. And then we're going to make the outside, say 8mm. And we're going to click equal and click on both of those as well. I'm going to create a construction line by clicking L for line and then X to toggle it to construction. Make sure that it's vertical. It already was vertical. And just going to define it a distance off of 6mm off the edge, which is fine. Now we do need to kind of define the measurements. 6 down is fine from there. And we'll go 6 up. Now I'm going to create a point and have it intersect where that construction line crosses the. I'm going to do that and just grab a rectangle. Oh, it's still in construction mode. Deselect that. So I've accepted that. You can see it doesn't match. We're going to click the tangent line though and select both of those. All right, I'm going to hit Q to toggle a press pull command. And we're going to extrude it to the back side, at least for now. So something along those lines. I'll be able to have a cross brace or the actual phone mount that will bolt to. I'll have that same type of item on each side. I'll probably just work on one side at a time and then I'll re-mirror the body. This one will end up getting deleted, but it's nice to have it there at this point just to help visualize what's going on. So we've got that. I probably don't need anything like that down here, but I am going to need it along the base because we're going to need to come up with a pedal set as well as the seat base and all of that. So let's get it set up. Actually, we'll probably do a mount for the pedal area up towards the front, And then the seat area will likely be more of a vertical tabs. So, I think you got is, yes, I did check if I had audio because people, oh, dang it. That happens to be the joke around here. I don't know how that happened, but people trying to freak me out that I don't have audio. So 2.6, we are going to kind of mimic the design that we did a moment ago. Up top, I'm going to make sure that it'll be a little bit different. I'm going to make those that. None of these dimensions are critical. So I'm just making stuff up as we go. Line between them, create some points. And turn off the construction. Two more tabs. We're good to go. All right. So at this point, I still have that sketch hanging out in the middle. I'm going to turn that off. We just drop down that sketch drop down and we can turn that off. And now for the rear portion, actually, I'm going to turn that sketch back on for a minute. We should probably make the seat base adjustable so it can slide. Just because we like to overcomplicate simple things. We're going to go 8 again. Now, this one, we're going to raise up. I'm going to give myself a little bit more clearance. Clearance. 25 and 40. All of this stuff will, again, we'll start making all of our additional pieces here shortly, but I want to try and get kind of my framework down. All right. As we go, we'll definitely add in fillets and radii, possibly some more style to things, maybe some additional bracing, who knows? But like I said, these things usually tend to evolve as they go. Okay, let's do the phone holder next. Yeah, why not? So this doesn't have to be an overly complicated part, although that is typically how I do things. So we're going to bring this just proud to the top of that, maybe 5 millimeters. Again, doesn't matter. Oops, we're going to do a collinear constraint with the bottom of that sketch and the radius return of that tube. Now you will notice that I drew this to the center line because my plan is to just draw half of this and then mirror it. That way I don't have to do as much work. Now we don't need this thing to do the whole width of the phone. Really, we don't need to do much wider than the base as it is. So my phone is about 160 millimeters. But let's keep this. If we do 50, that'll be just past. That'll be fine. We can mirror that to each side. Now we do need to add some 3.5 millimeter holes over the. You're gonna need some flathead screws for these probably. Actually, I'm going to delete that collinear because I'm going to need to put a foot on the bottom of this, and I don't want that screw head to get in the way. So we'll put 5 millimeters there too. All right, let's do, I'm going to do an offset inside 5 millimeters, like that. And I'm going to do 5 millimeters out this way. I'm just kind of creating some geometry for the sake of creating geometry. Lastly, I'm going to do a construction line set like that. And we're going to do 2 offsets. This, I'm going to do 2.5. I'm going to make sure that's not a construction. Hit OK. And do one more time, negative 2.5. Okay. So now I'm going to hit Q, and I'm going to, we have to grab all of the areas of this sketch profile that I want to include. That. I want to make sure that I've got all right, and I'm going to increase this distance from 50. Oops. We're going to go 4 millimeters out is all. Oh, but we need to make sure this is a new body, not a join. We got a little spot there we missed, but I'm going to go back in and edit that last sketch, change a couple of things to change our style. Added a little bit of width, just kind of, I wanted to add a little bit more separation here on the outside. And I still don't like that. I'm going to change, oh, that one's fine. It's this one here. I'm going to change that to 2 millimeters. Once we add a bunch of fillets and things like that, that whole thing will end up looking much, much different. So I'm going to, well, actually I don't need to do that yet. Let's add the foot portion at the bottom. Before we do it, I'm going to add a bit of color to this. Okay. Do that for now so we can make sure we know the difference in bodies. So I'm going to put a collinear constraint on that bottom edge. This is what is going to need to come out the thickness of our phone. Now mine is 12 millimeters with a case. Let's go to 15 to fit more thick cases. And then lastly, we're going to put a lip on the front. That, and again, I think we can get away with 4 millimeters without much concern. That we're going to need to come up Whoops. That's going to need to be -8, I guess. We'll go with 10, -10. So we've created that. Now I'm going to mirror that body, selecting the body. False. I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to decide to add the fillets on this thing first, so I don't have to fillet both pieces and all of the joints that would be doubled. So I'm going to go through and select all of these. There's multiple times you could do this. You could do it in the sketch. You can do it in the solid. Some are more of a pain in the butt than others. Either way, there can be a lot of these lines and they can end up taking a good amount of time. But we'll change the look considerably. Is it gonna... If you spend some time selecting and getting rid of a lot of those hard edges. So what's 3 millimeters? Oh, it's not gonna. Okay. It doesn't want to do it because I'm guessing there's some of these that are too small and it wants to close up the joint too much. So I'll do it one section at a time. And all right. You can see it helps, it starts to clean things up quite a bit, fairly quickly as well. So if I do 3 here, yeah, that's the one that it's starting to close up. So we're going to do 1.5. I kind of had a feeling that that was the area that was causing me issues already. And we've got a duplicate of that one down here, 1.5. It didn't grab that corner. Redo that one more time. Okay. So now I'm going to mirror that. That body, mirror plane, we'll just select that edge. And I'm going to hit new body rather than join so it doesn't connect with that other side. Then we're going to combine both at once. There we go. Oh, sorry, my feed was not scrolling. I apologize for that. And let's see. All right, so again, your phone is going to cover up most of this. I should draw up a placeholder phone to take the, give you a little bit of a idea of what that. Hey, Dale C, thank you, sir. I think we petitioned Autodesk to change extrude to thick. Do you think they would go for it? You know, I think Autodesk could do about anything for money, so why not? I think it could. I think you could make it happen. So there's going to be your new phone holder. Now we need to do the pedal set, the chair, make sure whatever kind of chair base we do, it's got some save before mirroring. I should save just because. What were we calling this? Sim Racer phone holder. So there we go. All right. Now that is about 30 minutes in. So we'll see how the whole Facebook experiment worked out. I am going to end the Facebook stream though. So if you're interested, you can come to the YouTube side. Otherwise, I'll check back in that later, see how it performed, and we'll see if we continue with that later. But thanks everyone for joining on Facebook. You can come to the Harley Designs YouTube page for the rest of the stream. Okay. So now let's come up with an idea for, I don't want to work on the pedals yet. Let's work on the chair part first, because I think that'll be more fun. Now the chair base, actually, I have an idea. Finish sketch, end that, and then we're going to do, I'm going to hit P for project, grab those, rectangle, and I'm going to, why did it grab everything? There we go. We're going to drag that in by like 6 mil. Yeah. Now we're going to do that because I want to cut it from the outside. I want to kind of have the, outside of the rails flush with the, there we go. Now we're going to bring that in. Yeah, we're just going to bring it in negative 6.5 since that's the thickness of the tubing. I told you that footprint gas pedal would come in handy. Hey, you know what? You're not wrong. We have a full pedal assembly, I believe, from a previous model that may work out just fine tonight. So we will go back to that. Use the Woods Runner seat. Oh, could use the Woods Runner seat if people wanted to buy it. Insert derive. We go down to Woods Runner. Did I do that all separately? Floor stamp, rear firewall, nose. I don't remember how I titled it or anything. It was like I think I did a whole bunch of the interior all together, actually. That's a pain because I don't, unless I'm just not seeing it. Floor, firewall, rear fire. Dang it. Did I call it an interior? Well, oh wait, here we go. C10, there we go. Dash dual. I might have just had it all in the dash file. Could have been, we'll see. Nope, sure didn't. Darn it. All right, well, it was a good idea, but I don't think that that's gonna work for right now. I'll make this so that there's a solid base and then any seat could be bolted to it or double-sided taped or whatever you may have that could come in handy. So 3.5. Oh, actually, I'm going to undo that. We're going to make these slotted because everybody loves the slots. Slot, slot. Turn off construction, 3.5. Slot. All right, now we are going to select the line, select the midpoint, and constrain those so that they are equal. Lastly, we're going to do 8 millimeters of adjustment. Oops. We're just going to do an equal so that, yeah, why isn't this one? Oh, that point did not want to. Oh, nope. Oh, I'm just going to hit P for project so we can grab that. Sometimes it does not love the little things. There we go. My head went to Wraith seats too. Yeah. And absolutely, things like that would work great. I just don't want to assume that people have an item already, other than a phone. I'm assuming you all have a phone, or you have, but you might need the phone to take the photo of it. So maybe you're going to have to like borrow your wife, girlfriend, or kid's phone. So we're gonna work on, there we go. Okay. Who has Wraith seats? I just have a box of drift cars have seats? I didn't think drift cars had full interiors. But that is good news because I'm sure that the seat that I draw isn't going to be beautiful. I'm going to open up that original sketch or turn it on so I have an idea of kind of where I was previously thinking that this seat base needed to go to. We're going to leave it a little shy of that height specifically, but add some tangent connections. I'm going to do a vertical line. That was purely to give me a good area to dimension off of. Did a 20-degree on the front side and a 10-degree on the rear side. And 20 millimeters tall. Thingiverse has an STL of a racing seat that could work. Gotcha. We probably won't pull in another one just because I don't like using somebody else's work like that on a stream, especially. So we're gonna go 5 millimeters out. And at this point, now I made that a flat base, which is probably not what we want. We probably want it to have some angle in it, right? So I need to go back and adjust that sketch. So right there is our horizontal constraint. You can see that little line segment. I'm going to delete that. And then I'm actually going to delete that. That was a perpendicular constraint right there. And it's still, I need to take off that 20. All of these things that are defining, oops. So I'm going to throw an angle. There we go. Drag it down for a little bit of an angle, and then I'm going to be able to, let's do 5 degrees. That's reasonable, I think. 5 degrees might be a little extreme even, but probably be all right. Needs bearings to make it slide easier. Ooh, you're tempting me. I do love to throw unnecessary bearings in 3D prints. And so finish that sketch. So now it adjusted our seat base to have the angle. Throw a small amount of fillet on it already, just to give us a taste of style. Just a taste. Now, I can make this so that it's a full C shape, and I think I'm going to do that. Yeah, it won't really, we'll still be able to 3D print it. It'll actually make it a good example too for something to print, because it's going to be one of those examples where you can orient the print in a different way and save yourself a lot of time and energy. So we're going to, now this part I need to extrude it, but I would like to extrude it to the right plane. However, the right plane doesn't show up. So unless you click on the origin eyeball up there, and then those little things pop up, and then you can click on it and it'll take you to that point. Bam. Let me turn that back off. So now with the position of that steering wheel in the photo below me, it is not attached to the steering or to the TV area, but I think for our purpose, we're going to build that whole steering column off of the phone holder, because this is a 3D printed scale item and not an identical model to a sim racer. So sue me. But let's, before we go, add some of that. I'm tempted to want to put some decoration in this, but at the same time, I think I'll leave it just to give it a, just to give us a flat base so you guys can attach either the seat that I'm going to draw, which is going to be top notch, or it's going to give you just an easy way to mount whatever you plan to do. So I am going to mirror this body already. And new body, not a join, because otherwise it'll join to this whole outside part, which I don't want. Or it could, maybe it wouldn't, I don't know. Hey Josh, my girlfriend got me one of those shirts for Xmas. Oh, nice. The Proline shirts are really nice too. Put HD on it. Oh, we will definitely put HD on it. We'll have to figure out a place. I might have to go in some oddball place on this one, because we're not going to have a lot of nice big flat areas. Maybe I'll put it on the area where the foot pedals will go. So I don't know that we're going to need any other cross braces between the two sides, are we? That's going to be plenty. I might add one other one. I'm not going to mirror it yet. Side of the seat stand, great idea, Phoenix. I like that one. I'm going to open up the bodies. I'm going to delete that second rail and mirror the first one again, just to give myself an updated and complete look at what we're going on. Josh missed a good opportunity. A shirt saying I wanted a VS410 Pro for Xmas, and all I got was this trash. Nice. I like that. That would have been good. I agree. But I'm not that clever to get to do nice shirt designs. Okay. Now I'm going to work on the pedal base. One thing I'm noticing already is that here I've got these holes sized to be the threaded holes for cup holder. That's a good idea, Darwin. We'll add that. these are sized to be threaded. So that means that the screw would likely have to come from the top, otherwise it wouldn't sit level on the ground. However, there's things in the way and of almost all of it. So that would be a tough thing. So what I'm thinking we're going to do is I'm going to adjust that sketch and I'm going to make those sized for a 3mm pass through. And I have an idea how I'm going to. So this is going to be 3.5 mil. And same with that one. Hit finish. So now those are larger. Now the screw is actually going to come from the bottom. But to do that, I'm going to hide that last body. We're going to need to do a sketch on this side. And I need to give it clearance. You could use a flathead, but I don't want to have to force you to use a flathead. So we're going to do 2.5mm tall. I'm going to use P for project to grab those. We're just going to do collinear constraints. This is unnecessary. An undefined sketch would have worked fine, but I'd rather do it the right way. It's grabbing that whole thing. So we're just going to turn that off. Oh, it did an offset face. That's not what I'm trying to do. So we're going to cut through all of that like so. And now I don't have that mirrored on that side properly. So that's why I don't love to mirror those two things, but don't say we need supports. No, I don't. These pieces shouldn't need support. Well, these little areas right here are going to need some supports, but that's going to be about it. This thing's going to print pretty well without any of that. The whole thing, I kept that in mind the whole time. This is going to need very, very little support. That is my goal most of the time when I'm designing, is try to minimize supports. So I am going to delete that just so I remember to mirror it again though. Now we're going to work on the pedal base. 2.5. These are going to be the threaded holes. They're going to, like I said, thread up from the bottom. That. And a couple of constraints. We'll just bring that. I'm not going to bring it all the way out to the edge. We're going to leave it shy. We're going to go 3mm from the edge. Josh sent Dale's truck to Phoenix. I don't think so. So now this, I do need to get that. There we go. There's my origin. So we're going to do we're going to extrude. Oh, we didn't. You can see we didn't grab the full inside of that. Otherwise, we wouldn't have got those threaded holes. So we're going to extrude that up as a new body. Let's go like 13mm. Don't freak out yet. We're going to define a cut across that whole thing. Five millimeters there, and we'll say 3 millimeters from the base. And then cut through that whole thing. Actually, I'm going to rewind back just a little bit, and I'm going to do a bit of a cap on these. Ah, we still pulled into that one, but that's okay. I don't love that. That really doesn't give me enough threads to attach it. It's only going to give me a couple of millimeters. Let's see. Do I have a better solution for that right now? I guess we can go back in this history tree and, oh, no, further back, further forward. Where's it at? Nope, further. Okay, we're just going to pull this back until it shows up. What I'm trying to do here is, oh, I'm going to move this rear one further forward to try and give me some more threads in the, that'll be all right. And now I'm just going to do an inspect. That's still only 3 millimeters of thread, but I can actually adjust. Some of this stuff is not, God, why do I keep selecting the same one? Must be this one. Go to there. That'll do it. It's the little stuff that can be annoying, but that'll give us a little bit deeper thread on each of those to help secure this better. Now we are going to insert derive. Trying to think what I have. Creep interior, select. I think I did a full pedal set in this interior. I did right there. Hit OK. And now we can, oh, oops. Okay. I don't know if this will work since this was designed to work on a flat base. We could always remove or undo the derive and adjust it in here though. So let's see how that works. I should have put an actual degree number on that. What's that going to be? 15.5. 16 degrees is close enough. Oof. It's awfully narrow. We could scale it up a little bit. Because remember, this is only showing half of the foot base. Let's mirror that for sake of I definitely think we need to scale this up. That's the reason that I'm also thinking that the, well, no, I kind of did some of these dimensions off of what I figured 1/10 would be, but that needs to be bigger. So we're going, oh, still need to move it. Over there. Now let's do a modify scale, select the body. How's that look? 1.5? That looks more reasonable. We'll hit OK. I kind of like that. Who is messaging me? Okay, I think that'll be just fine. What do you guys think? Maybe scoot it back more so we've got, if you message, okay, everyone message Josh. If you do that, I will block you. I will have no, I will not feel bad about it in the slightest. Now you see this little black arrow that we have there on this, that's a derive link. It means it's linked to the other file. So what I'm going to do is hit break link, and then we can modify this thing without any concerns. Oh, I'm going to turn that off. The reason I want to do that is I need to do a 3.5 millimeter hole here. Wow, that was already almost 3.5. Huh. Actually, I'm not going to adjust that then. It's just not needed. But I wonder why. I must have used, like, it was either threaded or M2. 2.6 millimeter. Q. And we're just going to drag that down through. We'll go negative 12. So that gives us the holes to mount those pedals. Saved ourselves some time there. And I'm going to mirror that part for like the third or fourth time. I knew I would do that, but it helps for visualization. Hey Josh, will you be posting any parts you made for Becky? You can have any of those parts. They're just so specific for this truck that I didn't figure anybody would really want them. Hello, Matt. Thank you for joining. So, one thing we could do, let's add, let's just draw some line, and we're going to do offset 5, offset 10. Sure. Construction line, I'm going to attach them. Make sure that they are centered. And there. Now for, I'm just going to hit finish. Pipe. We're going to go circular. And section is going to be 2 millimeter. Yeah, 2 millimeter. It's going to let me, no, it's not going to let me select all three. I'm just going to do that 3 times. I'm using the pipe command to create these kind of ribbings, ribbed cuts, riblets, traction lines. Smooth them out. Select. There we go. A little bit of detail. Now your shoes won't fall off. Riblets. Yes, I like riblets. McRibs. Even better. The McRibs. We could put the ever so smallest H on this one and D on that one. But we're not going to. The McRib is back. I wonder how long it's been since I've had a McRib. I've definitely had one, but it has been a very long time. Okay. I'm just going to add some fillets there while I'm staring at them and not liking that it doesn't have them. Kind of thinking we should take a bit of a cut out so it's just got the McD's. Is gross. It's not the best. Not the best for you, but sometimes it's what you need. Not the hero we wanted. It's the hero we needed. So this seat base, while it is, separate and will brace between them, I don't like that it's going to, I think I'm going to add another brace underneath, or kind of maybe somewhere in this area in general, just so that it really makes things nice and sturdy. Because with the seat there, I feel like everything's just going to be a bit too flimsy for a scale 3D printed sim racing rig. So we should definitely spend more time on that. But first, there's more. Let's do the seat. Now, I'm not gonna lie, seats are not easy. At least not for me. They've got organic shaping, and that is not always the easiest thing. And do that, and then bring the headrest up. Now we're gonna do let's 4 millimeters thick, something like that. And then I don't necessarily need it to exactly fit so we made it straight lines on the outside. Let's do a spline for the inside, because that'll help make it less geometric, robotic looking, like most of my designs. So we'll do something like that. Okay. And that was too thin, so I can just kind of freaking hate drawing this type of stuff. And that's way too tall. So we need to drag that down and drag some of these points into check. It can be a little bit taller than what I initially will do. 5 millimeters there. I've got lumbar support in the wrong lumbar. that. I don't know. Let's see. Let's just pull this, whip this thing out. Whip it out. Wow, how the hell did it end up way up there? And it's going to be like a Buick racing seat with that much cushion in the bottom. Hoovy would be proud. All right. New body, because it is separated from there. Let's just add that like that for now. Oops. I mean, turn that off. I wanted to turn that off. So we're going to put a bit of, actually, no, we're not going to do that. I'm going to do a sketch on the back. I'm going to offset a circle, something like that. Add the top cut. And now we're going to need to add things like the side bolsters and all of that. Again, these are just super oddball shapes that I don't love drawing. This is definitely my weakest skill set in CAD. I am not good at this by a long shot. So everything here is nothing that should be looked at as actual advice. If anything, you can look at it for comedic value. If you thought the seats in the 50K truck were ugly, wait until you see me do a racing seat. Why will it not? Oh, it won't let me do a tangent constraint on a spline. That is some horseshit. Let's see this. We're going to bring out as in some bolstering. We're going okay. I have ideas on how I plan to try and make this look halfway decent. It's not going to happen, but they're ideas. Oops, I hit the wrong one. I'm gonna do this as a separate body at first, and then it'll allow me to kind of chop away at some stuff. Just grab a racing seat off Thingiverse. I don't like using other people's models on streams. It's just not a great practice. You know, technically the channel's monetized and all that. It's not a good thing to do. It's not a habit I want to get into. So by all means, you guys can do it, but it is not something we're going to do for this broadcast. So we're going to do that. I'm going to drag that out. It's going to be a new body. Hit OK. And then I can do some kind of carving, if we create a sketch, or what if I just do a heavy chamfer? Do that. Before I do that, I'm gonna do a go spline again. That. And then project those. Now let's see what that does. Does it on that side? Okay. Oh, I'm going to undo that. Back to chamfer. I'm going to deselect tangent chain. Oops. Okay. I decided to combine them to try this at least. That's still way too much. Undo the combine. Okay, we're going to try and do another one of those kind of fit spline cuts, just because it tries to give me a little bit of a shape to it at least. Do that. Did it create a little straggler? It did. But I think I can just delete that body. Nope. Because it is still attached. Damn you anyway. All right. Do I have anything that's causing it? I can't tell. I'm going to edit that sketch. Just add myself in a little bit more. And we're going to try one more of those cuts from the inside, and that's going to probably be about as much as I plan to try and screw with that for the evening. Before we just say it's close enough, you can use a seat that you have, you can download a seat. I don't care. needed to change the direction. Direction one side. Why is it not letting me change the direction? Oh well. Oops. Let's see. 3Ding is hard. This is a totally different type of 3D too. Like I said, this is not the, I'm awful at this kind of 3D modeling. This is a whole different type of modeling. It's like it's more organic style. Like it's an oh man, I was trying to fill that and it's just not wanting to fill. This is the worst. And I don't feel bad about this sucking so hard either, because like I said, I'm awful at this and I'm well aware of it. So I'm going to throw a bunch of, screw it. All right, I'll screw with that later. I've done enough of it at this point that I don't, like I can mess with it and get it to, I can keep just like filleting around until it turns into something, but whatever. And it turned out way too big. So at the same time, I'm just going to grab the whole thing and go 0.75. Nope. Non-uniform. We're going to go 0.75 in width. 0.7 maybe even, yeah. I'm okay with that. And then in height, I'm going to go 0.85. Yeah, that got it slendered down. Another one of those things that like when you're drawing it and it's okay. So I still don't like it. Front to back. There we go. It's getting there. Again, find your own damn seat. We'll work with that for now. I'm going to turn it transparent just because you can look past it then. It's like it's there, but it's not there. Don't look behind the curtain. Wouldn't it be easier if you had that scale driver? Oh, you're pushing it, sir. Maybe it would. Well, let's see. Delete that sketch I just started. We need to put in the actual racing, the steering wheel section, right? Don't forget your keyboard shelf. Yes, you need mounting holes. Need mounting holes for what? For the chair? I mean, you can put a screw through it if you want, or I would suggest double-sided tape, because depending on what seat you use, it could be a million different types of mounting. I'd use the RC four-wheel drive PRP weight seat. Yeah, I mean, honestly, those seats are great. I've got them in that the Woods Runner there, which is, belongs to Ben. I'd highly suggest these seats as well. They're pretty much perfect. They look really good, and they were cheap. So, and A-Main carries them. So, a great one. Need mounting holes for the seat. Yeah, I don't think you do. You could use some double-sided tape without a problem. Now let's get the steering wheel setup all done. We're gonna have that come off of the bottom of this. I want to make sure that, again, it prints easily. So we're gonna do like a 3.5 and a 10. Get that off of there. $10mm off the center line. Line. And we're going to mirror those items to the other side. This is just going to basically be our mounting points, or mounting point for the steering wheel setup. And lastly, we're going to make sure that are in line. All right. Oh, I don't know why I didn't bring that all the way out to the edge, but that's fine. Do 10. Give this a mounting point. Can you extend the seat back to the other body? Wait, what? Oh, I don't know. I don't know what part you're at. I think we're past the seat now. But no, didn't want to because it was all curved and everything. So now let's work on, so the steering wheel, normally you have like the unit that gives you the force feedback or just the housing for it, for itself. So we're probably, I'm going to do, I made this all the way back there. I don't really know that, I don't know if I want it all the way back there. It might take a little bit. I'm going to modify that sketch plane. So redefine sketch plane, and then I'm going to select the front of this and hit OK. Edit sketch, and whoops. It wanted to throw my, we're going to undo that. We're going to try that one more time. Edit sketch plane. I'm going to select up here and just see if that. Yes, that worked. So that allowed me to move that feature. Now I'm going to just extrude it to the front. I'm going to turn it to a two-sided. -4. So it is going to take a little bit of support on the back side to get this thing to print, but I think that'll be a little bit better. So now let's build the portion that's going to, we're going to do an arc, 3-point arc. Kind of put that across the top. Go straight up from those points to capture that. And make them equal length. Sure, 9. We're going to put our 2.6 millimeter holes so that they're threaded. Oops. Drag that out. You want to come a little bit further. Once you get the steering wheel on there, it should be about in the proper position. It's going to be a new body. Hit OK. I'm going to bring that appearance menu up. Drop that on that piece. So let's do a slight kind of taper cut on this thing. That maybe we don't do the whole way. So yeah, like there. Okay. Oops. The only thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put a small visor kind of portion on the top of it. No, I'm not. I lied. I'm going to cap those. And then we need to put a hole to mount the steering wheel. What have we done steering wheels on? Josh, put a bearing in there so the steering wheel can rotate. God, I'm such a sucker for putting bearings in things. A real spinny bearing. I kind of want to do that. Why do I want to do that? That's so unnecessary. $11.5. $20. I'm going to do a secondary cut on here though that's larger so that it's not so difficult to get a bearing in. Make that like, yeah, 15. Okay. Did he put a bearing in the refrigerator? I did not. The refrigerator did not have a bearing. I went 20, so I'm going to go negative 16. So now you've got a 4 millimeter pocket in there for a bearing. Now we need to do we need to make sure we're 1 point. Actually, the inner race is what? 5 millimeters. So I need to be at 7.5 total diameter. Call it 8. Okay. How about a pen spring for a seat so you can have an ejection seat? Yes, we keep overcomplicating unnecessary parts. I'm well aware and I apologize. Okay. So that is going to be our bearing supported column to start, but I need to do a we're going to do a 7mm steering column so that it sits properly on everything. We need to have a 2.6mm hole through it. And then we need to extrude that out by 2 that direction. It needs to go to that in that direction. Now, the problem is that we don't have something that actually goes through the center of the bearing. We almost need that. And I don't want to make it all one piece because you only have 5mm. If I do it, what will it look like? If I go 3.5 and 4.5, yeah, you only have a 0.5 millimeter of actual. Trying to make it so you have the actual shaft and you have a 0.4mm nozzle on a 3D printer. That's just not enough. Urgh. I don't want to go to a 10x15 bearing so that it's easier, but man, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. How do I make this so, okay, it's okay. We're going to figure it out. I'll figure it out later. So that brings our column out. We need to actually do the steering wheel portion though. I'm probably going to do 2 steering columns, one for a bearing and one that has a spacer so you don't have to use a bearing in your steering wheel for ridiculous reasons. Now we need, what do we determine the steering wheel? Like 1.8 inches, 1.5, that's 25 and 12, call it 35mm. -3. Now we're going to do a 3-spoke wheel. An uneven spaced though. Something like that. -2.5 down. -2.5. And same here. Okay. I'm going to define that angle. 115. 110. A little flatter. And then I'm going to mirror those based on that line. Throw a hub in the center. It's 10. Three up. Very simple on the wheel. This is another place where use a throw yourself on a scale wheel that you may already have, because this will be designed for a 3mm screw. So you'll be in good shape to add your own. Oops. God, hate when that happens. When it all of a sudden jumps over and selects a bunch of other crap you didn't want. There we go. Can you make that a chain steering wheel? No, absolutely not. I would have a much easier time modeling that than I would a driver's seat, I'll tell you that. But okay, so we're an hour and a half in. We've hit the main points here. Now, I'll probably go through and do a few other things, but I want to, I said I wanted to get into the actual like Cura part of it. Chassis left, phone holder. I'm just naming my actual models at the top. Seat base. Pedal. Because I want to show you how I look at it when I bring it into Cura itself. I'm bringing the seat in, even though I hate it, I don't like it, I wouldn't use it. Steering base and steering wheel. We can add other things if you guys want to hang out longer, but I want to get these items saved. Normally I name these things all with consistent names, but again, like I said, I want to get this rolling so you guys can see what's going on first. I might pull in a STL off of Thingiverse for the actual upload, but only if it allows for that type of thing. Again, maybe I'll use it for the photos and then link to it in the description. But like I said, I won't use it in an actual stream. Okay, so all that's done now. 3 pedals and no shifter. We can add that thing. I just want to get into this before we get past the 2-hour point, as I don't like going that far. So I opened Cura, I grabbed all of our files, I'm going to hit open. So now, obviously, this is too much for one base. See, even it rejects the seat. I'm fine with that. Deleted. Gone. Now, if you've ever just looked at you brought in a file and then you get this and then you hit print. That is definitely just not the most effective way to do things. When you click on a model, it obviously gives you these 3 arrows. You can kind of click and drag those around. And let's start with that. So this is set up as an Ender 3 right now. I'm going to actually delete one of these sides because I don't think that we're going to print both at once. So I'm going to drag that over, but I'm also going to hit the rotate button and it pulls up the orb. And then you can drag that and rotate your parts. Hopefully you were already familiar with that. That drags it to 90. Now, there we go. Whew, it still fit. So you can see there, it actually puts that base in where it needs it. Now, the other thing is like these pedals, you can see they're not oriented properly. If you click on them, whoops, and then you hit the rotate, it pulls up these little things here. You can hit the lay flat button and it will automatically rotate them down to fit more properly. Most of the time it gets that right. Not every time though, so be advised of that. Sometimes it will rotate it to an area that you don't necessarily like, but again, same thing here. This, you wouldn't want to print this way. This way, you'll actually want to print it on the back. So if you use that lay flat option here, it wouldn't do it the way that I wanted. So it laid it that way, where I would rather have it laid down this direction. So now we still have the big phone holder. Again, rotate, we're gonna drag it back. That's still not the proper area, but we're gonna hit lay flat, which does rotate it properly. And then we just need to move it into place. Now you wanna make sure that your items aren't colliding, of course. And you can do that by just rotating around and, ooh, I didn't notice that that was at an angle. $90. But you can see now everything's in a much more appropriate place. Nothing is, oh, these two are touching. You don't want that. So you could print all of those items at one shot pretty easily. Now we do still have this guy here. That's probably not going to fit in this build plate, so we wouldn't print that at the same time. But I would have this set up. Now in my quality drop down up here at the top, you will want to turn on support for this because it is going to need some support over here and likely for this overhang on the phone holder. This won't need it. Everything else should be fine. It may print support on the inside of this, but that's fine too. That shouldn't be that bad. We'll support everywhere. Overhang 45. I'm not 100% sure what the enders do without a problem. But really that's kind of the base. You can get into a ton of different tuning on this. This is not the machine I use, Ender 3, so I don't have any of my settings carried over to this. But, you know, I don't have any of the, you can click the little gear and it'll give you a bunch of other, you know, different types of supports and support tuning that you can do. If you're new to it, you can start with the basics and then tune from there if you'd like. But that's kind of how bringing in an STL works. Oh, it also need a little bit of support on this backside. Someone's saying I could never learn this. You absolutely could. How do you rotate the view like that? Oh, I'm right click on a mouse. If you're using a laptop, it is much, if you're using like a trackpad, much different. But if you're using a mouse, absolutely. Just right click and you can just rotate around. Very handy. So you do that and then you would hit slice. And it'll go through. You can see it chugging away down there. Now you can hit preview and it'll show you where it's showing support. So here you can see the support all through this area because that's not the model. So you can see all that support. You can see the support on the back side right there. It's doing support inside of the holes, which really isn't needed. And you can tune that out later with overhang and all of that, but it's just a matter of, it'll work fine. Just a little bit of additional cleanup that would be needed to get it done. So, and then all you would do is you would hit save to file, or if it's your computer's directly connected, I print via an SD card. So I would save that to my SD card, put that in my printer and hit print, and then you would be good to go. But that's a little bit of how orienting things around like that works out. If you could hold the wheel, it will move the whole plate up and down. Wait, if you hold the wheel, I don't know which. Oh, yeah, you're talking about pan. Yes, this is pan, or you can zoom with the wheel, and then right click allows you to orbit. So if you hold the wheel, yeah, it allows you pan. It doesn't necessarily move the plate up and down. That's just what that's called in 3D modeling. Panning, rotating, zooming. Absolutely, though, get a mouse and keyboard. Or mouse. Keyboard's already on your laptop. Mouse is definitely needed. So, hey Josh, does the Vanquish front? Oh, sorry. I don't pay a ton of attention to like other comments and things like that on this channel or on this stream. If you have specific questions, you can message me. But there's too much going on to try and answer a bunch of other questions while doing this. All right. Oh, we wanted to add the shifter, right? Now, as much as you guys didn't like it at the time, creep interior, shifter. I agree. It's awkward. So we're gonna get that moved over into position. We could probably scale that thing up and then make a base for it. Yeah. Should we rotate it down a little bit? Like that? Yeah. All right, that's put into place. Let's scale that thing up a little. 1.5. Oh, I don't have, I have non-uniform. Uniform, 1.5. Oh, too much. Too girthy. 1.2. There we go. What is the print time on those parts? I did not check, but it was 10 hours on what we showed previously. That did not include the other side of the chassis or the seat base or the steering wheel. So, or the actual little steering column bushing, I don't think. I think that was missing too, but hey, Randall Hill, thank you very much. Appreciate the donation. Keep up the great content. Again, thank you very much. That's much appreciated. So I'm guessing to print this whole thing, you'd be around maybe 13 or 14 hours. So we've girthed it up a little bit. I'm going to break the link so that we can do some editing on our own. First thing I'm going to do, let's see, is it going to allow me? No, just trying to fill it. I'm just going to fill that hole in from the bottom because I'm going to make it combine into another base, let's call it. Hide that. Hide that. We're going to put a base around it, 2.5. Moose Jaw says, is there a Fusion 360 for dummies? Yeah, Lars Christensen has some really good videos. He's an employee of Autodesk. So he obviously has a lot of experience with the Autodesk products and does some pretty decent videos, especially on a lot of the just real basic type stuff. It gives you just some great steps to go through. For me, it's I found some, a number of tips through him that are things that, since Fusion 360 is not where I normally work, I'm not all that, like I can get around in Fusion 360. I can get what I need to get done, but I'm not, there's a lot of things in this program I don't know compared to like SolidWorks, where I'm much more fluent. I feel like I'm much more capable of getting things modeled the way that I would like to. All right, I want to add a mount that will attach to this. So I'm going to throw a little bit of fillet on that first. Yeah, something like that. I'm going to add a mount to get that done. Let's see. What other things, before I do that, what other things do we need to add to this? Someone said a cup holder. That was not a bad idea. I kind of liked that idea. That probably needs to go on the left side. Is there a SolidWorks for Dummies? Found a trial and I'm more lost than I am in Fusion. I don't know if there is one of those. I've watched a ton of videos. I've been drafting for a lot of years, so I have a lot of experience in this stuff. It's just need to move it out a little bit. We could do that. Oh, true. Yeah, they're usually not behind the steering wheel, huh? I was trying to put it in kind of an easier spot for attaching it, but it doesn't look like that's going to work. Man, I'm going to actually, I agree it does need to go out a little bit, but I'm not going to do that because I want it to be simple to mount to this. So we're going to leave that. Fuzzy dice and an air freshener. As usual, Mike J, that is an unhelpful suggestion. I reject your suggestion. SolidWorks for Dummies costs $30,000. Yeah, that's about right. SolidWorks is quite expensive. Mount it off the seat base. That I don't want to. I'm worried about depending on what seat people actually use. I don't want to make that become an issue. I mean, I know that the other ones have like the PC tower and tower mount. I'm not going to add that though. I think for tonight, since we're right at the 2-hour mark, I am going to finish up a few of these details on my own. I'm going to put a cross brace on the bottom side underneath of the seat to get things just a little bit more. Air freshener was Phoenix's suggestion, by the way. It would have sounded better when he said it. An ashtray? What is this? The racing simulator from the 70s? What if you add your own seat? Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. I don't want to add the shifter in case it would interfere with that. What happened to the cup holder? Cup holder will get added because I liked that. Windshield turn signal thingy. I don't think they have those in racing simulators. Hey, Jeremiah. Josh, you should print a porta potty VP ever come out with a straight axle conversion for the TRX4. I do not believe that will be something on the VP list. SSD has that already, and I don't see that being something we find the need to work on. Thanks, Brutus. You're welcome, Mike J. Okay. So I'm gonna work on some detail. We didn't put an HD logo on this anywhere. The side of the seat base, right? That was the suggestion before, which I thought was a good one. Text. Text is going to be HD. Oops. I still have cap locks on. Impact. 20. Fits like a glove. Finish. And we're going to go -0.4. little cut. Actually, I feel like that's too big. It's going to get covered by the heads of the screws. So we're going to go 15. 15 it is. That's better. That's less terrible. Not gonna lie, this hasn't been my finest night of drafting, but you get what you get. Select that, mirror it based on that. God, I forget text doesn't mirror for crap. All right, we're only putting it on one side. Hey, Moto Terra Off-Road. Hey, Harley. I've really been loving these. Question, are all your designs on Thingiverse able to be sold commercially? I don't know technically how I have them listed, but I really don't care if people download and sell things. Actually, I've seen people do it before without asking. And I've said it on here before though. If you want to buy yourself a 3D, if you need to convince yourself to buy a 3D printer, you need to have things to sell, you can sell these. I don't care. If I put it out there for free, I assume that people are going to make them. The point of me doing it is more for this stream. So after this stream is over, I assume that they're public property almost. So there we go. I think that's going to do it for this stream. I'm going to work on some details of this. This was kind of fun, but I want to just finish some things up without dragging this thing on for another 45 minutes of just fiddling, because then it's not going to be entertaining. Not that this was necessarily the most entertaining thing in the world anyway, but maybe that's, maybe that's your thing. Any stream that doesn't crash is a good night. That is true. We didn't have any crashes. We did drop some frames. I see that 3,600 frames, but it's 0.8%, so not terrible. Oh yes, some support for fleet reading. Yes, that's going to get supported. I'm going to add a cup holder because that was a great idea. And like I said, cross brace and a few of that stuff. Headlights. You guys are crazy. We'll see. This one was fun. I enjoyed it, but I'm going to get this wrapped up, add some things, and yeah. Hopefully you guys had a good holiday season. We're on the other side of it now. We all go back to work tomorrow. Well, a lot of us. Hopefully you guys can if you're able. And yeah, thanks again for watching. I appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time. What software do you use? It's linked in the description below. It's called Fusion 360. You could use this as a cell phone stand. This is specifically designed as a cell phone stand. That was the point of this model exactly. So your cell phone would sit right here. It is designed to fit a cell phone perfectly. See? Not just a hat rack. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one.